Who are you without your obesity story? Let me ask you this question. Who are you if you gave up your obesity story? The perfect is the enemy of the good. Chapter 8. The perfect is the enemy of the good. Most of us, let me see how long this is. You guys ever flip? Oh, it's a short chapter. I always look to see what you're reading. Most of us devote great amounts of time and energy to efforts to assert control over what happens to us in our uncertain progress through life. We are taught to pursue an elusive form of security, primarily through the acquisition of material goods and the means to obtain them. There is a kind of track that we are put on early in life with the implicit suggestion that if we succeed, we will be happy and secure. The primary means to this end is education. The structured pursuit of schooling provides a systematic classification of social standing and potential for success, as well as a set of intermediate goals that satisfy our need to reassure ourselves of progress. Each graduation carries with it the promise of enhanced status and economic well-being. Finally, it is hoped we will have amassed a set of specialized skills that people will pay for, and we can accumulate those things that are necessary for full membership in a society that guarantees to its citizens the pursuit of happiness. We are also taught that it is important to form intimate relationships that satisfy important needs. Access to sex, the establishment... Did you hear that, Erica? Access to sex, the establishment of a stable economic unit, the ability to parent, and to achieve other objectives involving self-regard and emotional security. The directions we are given by our elders tend to focus on economic success. We are left on our own to discover how to relate to others, particularly those of the opposite sex whose needs and desires, while theoretically complementary to our own, remain frustratingly obscure. A problem emerges with the concept that in order to control our own lives, we must exert control over the lives of others. Ooh, that is good. Let me read that again. A problem emerges with the concept that in order to control our own lives, we must exert control over the lives of others. That's just not true. We are then engaged in a zero-sum game in which we get what we want only at the expense of someone else. We live in a competitive society. We are forever dividing the world up into winners and losers, Republicans versus Democrats, good versus evil, our team versus their team. Our capitalist system is founded on competition. Our legal system thrives on conflict and the pursuit of self-interest. Ain't that the truth? I hate the legal system, man. Is it any wonder, then, that we often see the world through a win-lose, two-alternative lens? Such a view is, of course, disastrous for the delicate process of achieving intimacy with another human being. You know, that's really true. Like, you cannot achieve intimacy with another human being if it's win or lose. You know, my way or the highway. It just won't work. Control is a popular illusion closely related to the pursuit of perfection. Control is a popular illusion closely related to the pursuit of perfection. My life really changed the day I realized I wasn't in control of anything. I was barely in control of my own thoughts, my own feelings, my own emotions, my own life, much less my daughter or, you know, Kizzy's mom or my job or the CEO of the hospital. Like, I was not in control. Nothing about life is control. People struggle, don't get me wrong, people struggle. They try to get control. What they don't understand is, like, you can't control anything. You definitely, I mean, think about it. Give me the truth. You couldn't control your ex-husband. You can't control your kids who are on drugs. You can't control your mother-in-law. You know, can't control them. Can't control your teenagers. You might, it's an illusion. You might think you can. You might run a tight ship. I run a tight ship, Dr. V. You ain't in control. Trust me. Control is a popular illusion closely related to the pursuit of perfection. In our dreams, we could bend the world and the people in it to our will. Gone would be the need to negotiate differences, to endure the uncertainty of failure and rejection. Though we come to understand that such a world is impossible, sometimes we go to great lengths to achieve whatever control we can over those around us through the exercise of power or manipulation. We all know people who are perfectionistic. They tend to be demanding of themselves and those around them, and to manifest an obsessive orderliness that is, in the end, alienating. They do not trust feelings and prefer to occupy themselves with things they can count. I have to read that again. We all know people who are perfectionistic. They tend to be demanding of themselves and those around them, and to manifest an obsessive orderliness that is, in the end, alienating. Yeah, perfectionist. They do not trust feelings and prefer to occupy themselves with things they can count. That's a perfectionist. In defense of perfectionism, it might be said that obsessive people make the world function for the rest of us. Who, after all, wants to be operated on by a relaxed surgeon? God forbid. Or fly on an airplane maintained by mechanics satisfied when their work is good enough. If we excel at anything, it is because we are prepared to sweat the details, wherein resides either God or the devil, depending on your orientation. The devil's in the details. The problem with perfectionists and their preoccupation with control is that the qualities that make them effective in their work can render them insufferable in their personal lives. I treat a lot of engineers and accountants and computer programmers. To be less controlling in their jobs would render them ineffective. The best one can hope for is to introduce them to the paradox of perfection, which is, in some settings, notably in our intimate relationships, we gain control only by relinquishing it. In some settings, notably in our intimate relationships, we gain control only by relinquishing it. And that's what I did. I relinquished control and I became a better surgeon. I really did. My skills got better. My knowledge base got better. My relationships with my patients got better. How I interacted, how I communicated got better. I gave up control. I thought to myself, like, okay, how would they want to be treated? Instead of my way or the highway, right? It really changed. It changed, for Kizzy's mom and myself, it was too late, but we're still friends. You know, she wished me happy birthday or something. So, these are called apple fries. How Mason likes to eat her apples. I have such a sweet apple. What a great book. Too soon old, too late smart. You know, recommit to your story. It's your story. And we said in an early chapter, the stories we hold on to, they are ever evolving. They are always changing. Like, what's up with that? Why are they always changing? Like, it's true. They are always changing. Mostly because our memories fail. And you can have two people get together and they remember two different things. They remember the same event, but they remember it differently. Oh, they weren't there. Oh, yeah, I was there. Yeah, no, you weren't. Like, yeah, dude, it's just crazy. So even the stories we tell ourselves might not be true. You got to give up those stories. Or you have to let them be. Or you have to accept them as how they were. You could talk to two kids. One kid would be like, oh my God, our parents were so mean and abusive. And the other kid would say, what are you talking about? They were firm, but they were very fair. Have a very different experience. I'm sure if you talk to my brother, he would tell you, you know, he had a very different childhood than I did. Like a very different relationship with my dad. So then you give up these stories because you ain't in control of even your fucking stories. Which then begs the question, well then who am I? You know? I was telling Kizzy the other night, I was like, your dad used to be a cool cat. Your dad used to be where the party was, you know, the in crowd. And then I'm like, there's nobody in my life right now that knew me way back when. There's barely anybody in my life now that remembered me when I was a great surgeon. So what happens is, it's scary. Who are you without your obesity story? Let me ask you this question. Who are you if you gave up your obesity story? Whatever that story is, what would you say? I can't do it, Dr. V. It's such a big part of my life. Exactly. Being a surgeon was a huge part of my life. But who would you be? Who would I be if I could no longer say I'm a world famous surgeon? Which I can't. Great dad? Okay. Great partner? Okay. Fun dude? Alright. A dude with a lot of stupid cars? Yeah, maybe. Guy who doesn't give an F? Yeah. So he doesn't have the same ring as the world famous bariatric surgeon. So who are you without your obesity story? So when you give up these stories, now you give up all these reasons. Reasons about why it was hard or difficult, or why you now have control issues. Like now you understand. I've always had to fend for myself. How's that working out for you? What do you mean? I have a great life. Well, I mean, do you? I mean, you're 5'2", 220 pounds. Do you really have a great life? It's like that guy I know that it's like that wealthy businessman, you know, bought himself a little. He got a pilot's license, got himself a little twin-engine prop plane. He's on social media with his wife, and they have like a 2-year-old kid now. Well, they have like several kids, like they have 4 kids, and they just had like a 2-year-old. And he's the one with a girlfriend in Vegas on the side. And he's overweight. He's not fat, but he could probably lose 30, 40 pounds. But he has anger issues. And he's wound kind of tight. He's the one that in a group setting, not my mastermind, but a different mastermind. Like I had to tell him, I was like, dude, you need to be nicer. These people are up in front kind of talking about their businesses, and you're searing them another. You just met him. He goes, why? I don't want to waste time. I'm like, yeah, but you can do it nicer. And so he goes, okay, I'll try to be nicer. Next day, this lady comes up, and she's a therapist, and she's trying to become a social media influencer. And she's like, and she's really hyper, and she's like all excited, whatever. And he raises his hand, you know, yeah, time for questions. And he raises his hand, and he goes, first of all, you're very tiring. Like, I said, dude, what did I tell you about being nicer? He's like, I get exhausted just listening to you. Because she's really hyper, you know? And I was just like... So anyway, he's an example, I think, of like a control freak. On social media, you think he has this like perfect family. But didn't, you know. Alright. What would you be? Who would you be? Who would you be if you gave up your obesity story? That's the question for you to ponder today. Have a great day.